My wife and I are both 34 and kid-free. My brother Mac, 28, started dating Heather, 30, roughly a year ago, and she came with 3 kids. Anna, a tween female, is 100% the problem child. The boys, pre-tween and young grammar school age, are great. Anna, on the other hand, purposely does crap to annoy people at every turn and is extremely defiant, and her mother lets her get away with it. We own a camp on the lake, and once a year, we host a large barbecue and weekend stay for the entire family. Mac brought Heather and the kids. Anna was an idiot all weekend, picking fights with people, throwing tantrums, hitting, etc. And Heather just stood back, saying, "I don't know why she acts like that," rather than do anything to correct her kid. My wife was getting noticeably more angry as the hours progressed, but nothing like yesterday. Yesterday, we were all sitting out on the deck, talking and enjoying a coffee, and Anna was underfoot, per usual. She was told to go play with the other kids several times and she refused, finding excuses to be involved in the conversation, which included picking up a fly swatter and swatting at flies around all the adults, knocking over our coffees several times. She was also smacking my wife with the swatter, repeatedly saying there were flies on her when there weren't. At one point, my wife looked at Heather and said, "Either get your kid the heck out of here or I'm going to lose my temper." I also spoke to my brother several times about him stepping in. This was following Anna dumping my wife's fresh coffee all over the place, including on her, for the second time. Cold coffee. My wife doesn't drink hot coffee. Heather said a clipped, "Anna, go play." And that was it. No follow-through. Well, Anna comes right back in and slaps my wife on the forehead with the swatter and says, "Bug!" Missed him. My wife took her coffee, the third she had just made, again cold, and flung it at Anna, covering her. Anna immediately starts crying, and Heather flips out, and so does my brother, saying that my wife was an immature C-word and that she's just a D kid. My wife calmly puts her cup down and continues the conversation like nothing happened, as Anna, Heather, and Mac are all flipping out. But then Heather says, "Do you have anything to say for yourself?" And my wife says, "Don't let the door hit you and your demon spawn on the butt on the way out." Some of the adults are saying maybe an apology is warranted and that we're idiots for not giving one. I personally don't think so. Not the idiot. Heather was totally amused watching her mini-me swat their hostess over and over. Honestly, I would have taken the fly swatter and hit your brother's girlfriend by saying there's a fly on you. The kid assaulted your wife so often while her mom stood by and let her, and your brother do jack. Anna needs to understand, life has consequences. She's clearly never seen one before, the way Heather's raising her. Cold coffee is a very small one. Even after an apology, I'm not sure they'd be welcome on my property again. Touch me with a fly swatter, and it'll be a war. Heather would be pulling a fly swatter from her nether region. She's just a kid? Well, get to parenting then, you gormless minger. Heather and her children should be banned from any future events. No one in your family should have to put up with that. Anna's almost a teenager, not a toddler, so the excuse that she's just a kid doesn't work. Heather is a crap mother. There is no excuse for their behavior. Everyone's the idiot here. You let it get to the point that your wife felt like she had to throw coffee on the kid for anything to change. Dude, your wife threw coffee on the kid. You should set an example for the children, and throwing a drink at anyone on purpose is typically an idiot move. The wife could have removed herself from the situation. I would have just taken the fly swatter away. You should have stepped in sooner when you realized how much of a problem this whole thing was. And Heather needs a freaking parenting class before she accidentally ruins the 2 boys who are currently well behaved. Update. There were plenty of times my wife specifically had told Anna to stop, and she had even taken the fly swatter away from her at one point. Anna went and mocked my wife and then grabbed a new swatter, while Heather and my brother ignored Anna and what she was doing. Hence why Anna kept doing it. Several times the other adults spoke up to this kid as well, and spoke to Heather about stepping up and telling her kid to stop and actually follow through. Many steps were taken before it got to this point. No, my wife shouldn't have had to remove herself from the equation when it's our property and everything was on our dime. My brother and his sorry excuse of a mom girlfriend should have corrected the issue from the beginning. 12 is plenty old enough to know right from wrong. Even her brothers don't pull that crap. Just a quick ad. It is not my wife's job to set an example, like some of you are saying. We're kid-free for a reason. Anna and her sorry excuse of a mother were warned several times by my wife, me, and the other adults. Beyond that, it's a them issue. I, 26 male, live in a quiet suburban neighborhood where everyone mostly gets along. However, my next-door neighbors have 3 young kids, all under the age of 7. Lately, these kids have been playing in their backyard for hours on end, and they can get pretty loud. They're homeschooled, so it's not like this will necessarily end in a week or two. Now, here's where it gets tricky. I work from home and have a small home office facing their backyard. The noise from their kids playing is driving me crazy. I can hear them shouting, laughing, and even screaming, and it's becoming extremely distracting during work hours. I've tried noise-canceling headphones, but it's still quite disruptive. So yesterday, after yet another afternoon of nonstop noise, I went over and politely asked my neighbors if they could keep it down a bit during my work hours. I didn't want to come off as confrontational and even offered to help with suggestions for quieter activities. They didn't take it well at all. They got defensive and accused me of being insensitive to children's need to play and have fun. They said I should understand, because I work from home and have more flexibility. It got a bit heated, and they made it clear they wouldn't change anything. Now I'm left wondering if I was in the wrong for asking them to control their kids' noise during my work hours. Am I the idiot for expecting a quieter environment, or should I have just sucked it up and dealt with the noise? You are the idiot. They're kids playing in their backyard. Kids are doing what they should be doing. Work hours quiet time isn't a thing in neighborhoods. You have to adapt, whether that means moving your workplace, working from an office, or otherwise making other changes to keep yourself from being distracted. This is not on the neighbors or their kids. I actually got secondhand embarrassment from reading this. Entitled much? Because you work from home, the kids that live next door to you can't play outside? Sounds like you need to figure out how to make a more suitable home office. This is a you problem. Oh, the horror. Kids playing and not submerged in electronics? Many child development specialists recommend 3 hours of outdoor playtime daily for kids. Unstructured outdoor playtime encourages the development of emotional regulation skills, boosts physical activity and exercise, and helps socialize kids. It's not just good for them, it's essential for proper development. Sorry, dude. I can't believe you had to ask the internet. Leave the neighbors alone. I see you're 26, and therefore too young to live in a child-free 65-plus retirement community. Your other option could be a frat house, which I understand are famously child-free. I rather suspect it wouldn't resolve the noise issue for working from home. Perhaps if you're having difficulty adequately soundproofing your home in the suburbs, you could work out an arrangement with your boss where he set up some kind of place for you to go and concentrate on your work. My husband and I only have one child, our son Gorham, a teen. We love him to death and spoil him lots, but we're also trying to shape him into a humble and appreciative person. Thankfully, we've never had any issues. He's quiet and well-mannered. He volunteers and is well-liked among his peers. My sister has 5 kids, ranging from 18 to 8. Recently, we were all attending my mother's birthday party. My mother was asking my son about how his sports are going and his studies. He's doing cross-country right now to prepare for lacrosse in the spring, and he recently started at the high school building at his academy. He was very excited and shared with his grandmother how much he liked the school. One of my sister's boys started whining about how it's unfair that Gorham gets to go to a private school and wear nicer clothes. 2 of our other kids started agreeing and whining. They complained that they wanted to play sports too. My sister can't afford to buy equipment and doesn't have time to take them to events. I felt bad for them and stayed quiet, letting them vent. It's unfair to them that my sister had more kids than she can reasonably provide for. They're always scraping by because feeding and clothing so many kids is expensive. But my sister had the audacity to lecture me about how I shouldn't let Gorham talk about things that his cousins don't have. Talking about being excited for school and sports is a normal thing for a teenage boy. It's not like he was talking about how much his shoes cost or something idiotic. Also, his grandmother was asking him questions. He was mostly replying to her questions. I stood up for us, but my sister and I weren't talking. My parents took my side and thought she was taking her issues out on me, but our brother thought I should just let it go and apologize. Since when were sports considered spoiling your kids? Sure, kids enjoy them, and they can be a luxury for most families, but it's also a thing that all families provide for their children if they have the means to. Not the idiot. Your son wasn't even bragging, just talking about his life. Yeah, sucks for the cousins. He's more fortunate, but that's how life works sometimes. Don't let her guilt trip you over her failings as a parent. To be brutally honest, she shouldn't have had kids, or so many kids, if she couldn't provide them with basic opportunities like sports. She probably feels insecure that she can't provide them with the things she should be able to provide, and is taking it out on you. There's always the nuclear option, depending on how much you want to see your sister in the future, of saying that maybe she should close her legs instead of asking you to close your wallet. Also, has she asked the school if there's any way to get help with equipment? The bottom line is she doesn't want to put the effort into it. She doesn't even want to drive them. Next time the kids whine, tell them there are avenues, but their mom just doesn't want to. Put it back on her. What's it going to be next? Oh, Gorham, don't wear those nice shirts and shoes, and only wear the clothing I can afford for my kids because I popped out too many. Oh, Gorham, why don't you go to my kids' school instead because you're making them feel bad? Oh, Gorham, how dare you achieve all these things with your parents' support and funding and go to a good university while my kids can't because I can't afford it? You have to draw the line somewhere. If you let this go, it can all go downhill with one push. Set boundaries and make the kids realize blaming Gorham for their financial situation is not okay. My 29 female, husband 29, and I have been married for 5 years, and we have a toddler daughter. She's definitely a daddy's girl, calls for him all the time. He's the fun parent. He's silly and so much more animated than I am. Their bond is adorable and heartwarming. Yesterday, my husband showed me a video his mother posted on her Facebook page when my kid was over. It was a video of my daughter playing in the backyard, and mother-in-law is asking her random questions like, "What's your favorite color?" etc. She asked her, "Who do you love more, mommy or daddy?" Of course, my daughter yells, "Daddy," which made my heart hurt a bit, but it's okay, she's still young. The thing is that I realized that my mother-in-law captioned the post, "She only needs her dad. I raised a good man." The "she only needs her dad" rubbed me the wrong way. I asked my husband if he could tell his mother to at least change the caption. My husband saw nothing wrong with it and said that his mother was just proud. I explained to him that I don't like the idea of people thinking I'm not a good mother or I'm an absent parent. He said that I could ask his mother to remove the video, but I would be the idiot. I would ask her not to post my kid anymore. Am I the idiot if I ask her to remove it and not to post my daughter on her Facebook anymore? My mother-in-law and I have always had a neutral/good relationship, but this caption angers me. Not the idiot. Mother-in-law is using passive-aggressive behavior, and your husband is oblivious to it because it's not an indirect attack on his character, but on yours. She can sugarcoat it with emojis, but it's exhibiting negative feelings against you. Not only that you have a mother-in-law problem, but a husband one too, who should have directly spoken to his mom. At best, he's oblivious. At worst, he's a co-conspirator, which is just yucky. Personally, I would ignore mother-in-law. However, I would fight fire with my husband. Make a video for your husband. Ask your daughter who she loves more, daddy or grandma. Tell your husband to post it with the caption, "Daddy's raising a smart little girl." Oh wait, even better. Ask your daughter who daddy loves more, mommy or grandma, with that caption, "Daddy's raising a smart little girl." That's the way to do it. But let's be realistic though. Any person looking at mother-in-law's video sees right through it. If I saw that on someone's page, it would make me wonder what they're trying to prove or overcompensate for, because everyone knows the fun people are their favorite, not the ones that make them eat and bathe and go to bed. Your relationship with mother-in-law is evidently not as good as you thought it was. You shouldn't let your daughter be alone with mother-in-law anymore. And there's no way your husband doesn't understand what your mother-in-law did was wrong. It looks like he just enjoys being praised as number one, even when it's hurting your feelings. My parents regret what they named my brother and me. Not sure when it happened exactly, but in the last couple of years, they attempted to use our middle names instead of our first names, which we stopped. My older brother is Ashton George, and I'm Caden Phillip, so my parents tried to call us George and Philip or Phil. My brother told them to never call him George. I told them I hate the name Philip and didn't want to use it or have people know my middle name. My brother left for college last year, and at the time, I knew they were talking to him about something, but I had no idea what. Now I do. My parents approached me Saturday about the upcoming school year and the fact that it's my last year of high school, and said they wanted to change my name to Philip legally and give me a new middle name that would be more professional and adult sounding. I asked them what made them think I wanted that, given I had already told them not to call me that. They said they tried to appeal to my brother before he left for college, but he refused to entertain the idea, so they wanted to start earlier with me. They said they have huge regrets about our names, especially mine, as it's so trendy and unprofessional sounding. I told them I liked my name and to let it go because I'm Caden, whether they liked the fact or not. My grandparents, Dad's parents, were invited over to interfere in this as well. They never liked our names and are absolutely on board with the "he needs an old name to get somewhere in life." I was told to think about my future and how to look when I try to find a job with the name Caden, or how much easier I'll find it to be taken seriously with a classic or old-fashioned name like Philip over something trendy and bad like Caden. I learned that my parents could not legally change my name at this age without my express consent, which is why they're pushing this so hard. Upon hearing this, I told them I would not discuss it with them anymore, and I refused to change my name. My parents and my grandparents all think I'm being unreasonable, and they said I should listen to their reasoning more and really think about it. I feel like this is so dumb. I talked to my brother, and he said he still gets a comment here and there about his name. He lets it roll off of his back. Am I the idiot? This is so ludicrous. Literally half of the teenage boys I know are named Caden, or something very similar. By the time you're actually looking for a job, it'll be basically impossible for any company not to hire at least 5 Cadens. The idea that such a hugely popular name will still seem notably unprofessional in the future falls apart completely if you think about it for even a second. And a few years ago, I hired an Ashton and an Ashton in the same week. No one cares about this. You are not the idiot. My suspicion, this is the grandparents putting pressure, likely financially. No name change equals no inheritance. Tell them you will only change it if you choose. I would suggest Botsworth or Algaron or another very old-fashioned name. If they refuse, you can tell them they're respectable names from the Victorian era.